Hello, my name is Paul Micarelli, and this is my son Paul Giuseppe, and we are thinking aloud. And today we're going to be thinking aloud about language. And language is one of those things that we kind of take for granted, but when you really think about it, it's pretty amazing. Language is really any kind of communication. We think of language as communication between human beings, people talking to each other in some form. But there's computer language, there's animal language, there's scientific language. Language is really any form of communication that conveys some kind of information from one point to another. And communication is, it's just, again, one of those things that we just take for granted. Everybody communicates in some way or another. But when you really think about it, this idea that we are taking information from one mind and somehow transmitting it into another mind, resonating between two consciousness or two sources, it's kind of an amazing thing, whether we're doing it through language, which is, we can convey a lot of symbolism and meaning in language, but it's a relatively low bandwidth way of transmitting information, talking to one another. Then you have kind of imagery, visual language, which you can encode or embed multiple layers and levels of meaning and information. There is digital communication, in which we put information into some abstract form that is transmitted through the internet, through the phone, through satellite or cable or whatever, fiber optics, whatever medium is being transmitted through. And all these different modes are doing the same thing, transmitting information from one source to another. And I always feel like communication and information transfer has been slow, and I've always kind of dreamed about Lightspeed communication, where information is transmitted instantaneously. And this might be happening on some level in the universe. If you believe in the theories of the quantum field or the unified field theory, and that there's information just popping in and out of existence and being transmitted on all levels, instantaneously, on all scales. And I think now with text messaging and high-speed internet, I think language and communication are becoming faster and faster to the point of near instantaneous transmittal. You can text somebody, and texting is kind of a funny thing. I mean, in a way, I guess writing is too. It's almost like telepathy. You're transmitting thoughts through a medium, and somebody else is picking up those thoughts and assimilating them. But especially with text messaging, how it's so fast and really so easy. And now I know, for instance, my wife, she talks into her text messaging, so you're kind of still limited by how fast you can type or how fast you can talk. I don't really like talking on my phone. I'd rather type out, and that way I can edit or change things if I have to and see exactly what I'm sending. But either way, typing or talking into your phone, you're still limited by the speed at which you can transmit that information from your fingers or your mouth onto the keyboard, into the phone or device. And especially, I just saw the news on the news that Neuralink, which is, Elon Musk kind of figureheads that company, which is developing neural interface, computer brain interfaces that, if that kind of device develops, and it's going to, and we don't know what kind of results that's going to bring, but one thing is going to be communication at the speed of thought. However fast you can think information, that information can be transmitted and recorded that fast. So, and even then, thinking in a whole nother level, even thought is limited by how fast our neurons can transmit signals throughout the brain. So is there a point where our spirit transcends these physical limitations and we're literally at the speed of light, and then time, according to physics, kind of ceases to exist or stops or has really no meaning at the speed of light? So, I kind of jumped really far ahead there, but this is what I think about when I think about language and communication, because that's the ultimate goal, is transmitting the information as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. So, language, as far as spoken language, is kind of a funny thing. There's been a lot of taboos, a lot of norms kind of surrounding language throughout human history. I think with, again, the internet and the rise of globalism and, cultures overlapping, that a lot of those kind of barriers are breaking down. People are finding any means to express themselves in any way possible, and there's nothing really too much taboo in general anymore. There's traditionally been curse words and swear words have been a bad thing, and me and my wife, we just curse like it's a normal part of our language, dropping F-bombs and everything else. We might curb it a little bit, I guess, as he gets older, so he doesn't sound like a dirtball to other people, cursing all the time. But it's just kind of like a normal part of our vocabulary. I don't feel offended by things very easily, so to me, curse words and colorful language is just part of expression, and sometimes it's effective expression. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes you get your point across. And my son here, Paul Giuseppe, he is learning language. He's saying dada, right? Dada? He might be kind of shy right now. Dada? Dada? He knows it. I don't know if he's going to say it. Dada! Dada! He's being shy for the camera, which is crazy, because usually he's chanting dada all the time when I'm around. And he started off saying mama, and he was saying that when he was kind of distressed or when he was trying to get our attention. And then he doesn't say it too much right now. He's probably going to get back into it more once he kind of makes these associations. I think he's associating me with dada. And he's starting to, do very basic vocabulary, as far as sounds, associating like cat with cat and good with good. And he's just making these little noises that is starting to be the foundation of language. And it's really, really interesting to watch. It's kind of fascinating to see language develop in a little mind like his. And I know that once he starts talking, he's going to be hysterical, because me and my wife have crazy senses of humor, and we crack each other up all the time, make each other laugh, and have fun with other people with language. And we know that he's going to be a little character. And kids in general, because they're not constricted by, like I was saying, these norms and ideas of, taboos of what to say, have much more colorful use of language. And it's like that old show, kids say the darndest things or whatever it was. I mean, you never know what's going to come out of a kid's mouth, because it's just novelty and constant creative thinking, and it's pretty amazing to see. My wife Loretta, she has a really funny use of, you know, language. She just makes up words and phrases because it sounds right to her, and I know what she's talking about a lot of the time, and what she's saying is usually, you can understand what she says, but it's just, you know, she just makes up words, and we're, you know, kind of convolutes the words, but, you know, it's just her way of being creative with language. And I've recorded a bunch of Loretta-isms that maybe I'll somehow publish one day or put out there, because, like I said, she just cracks me up. And I know, you know, Paulie here is going to be just as expressive, right, buddy? Right? And right now, it's not even spoken language, but just sounds and emotions being conveyed, like laughter. He knows what laughter is now. And I get some smiling. Yeah. And, you know, we brush our teeth, and he makes a little, because he loves brushing his teeth. When he sees me bring out the toothbrush, his little toothbrush, he's already all excited to brush his teeth. And he smacks his lips, and that's how you know it's time to brush teeth. So again, language doesn't have to be what we consider to be words and grammar. It is any kind of information that's being conveyed, and there's a lot of ways that can happen. So I'm looking at my phone here, and this technology that we're using that makes communication and language so ubiquitous, and everybody has the entire sum of human knowledge pretty much at their fingertips nowadays, which is something when I was a kid, you know, in the 80s, before the internet and, you know, any kind of mobile devices or anything like that, was, you know, it would have been mind-blowing to think that these little devices are connected to the database of, you know, pretty much all information. It's really just an unbelievable concept, and something that, you know, especially younger people, a lot of even older people, just take for granted, this power that's at their fingertips. And, you know, we've seen with elections and, you know, politics and the news and media, just how misused it can be. And we always thought that, you know, the internet would be this source of empowerment, unification, and democratization. And like I said in, you know, previous talks, it's a tool, and we found that it can be used just as easily for misinformation, division. Yeah, it's not that funny, buddy. And negative aspects. So, you know, again, communication's a tool as well, and it can be used for positive, negative, or, you know, neutral things. It's all part of human judgment of how it's used, and it's not good or bad in itself. You know, there can be propaganda, there can be uplifting, you know, inspirational language. I mean, you know, it runs the gamut just like anything else. So it's very important for us to kind of understand how we're using language, how is our language being effective, and, you know, is it being effective in the way we want it to, in a positive manner. Hopefully we're not trying to use it for, you know, negative purposes, but it's something we need to be aware of as, you know, individuals and as part of society, is how our language is affecting those around us and affecting ourselves. Sometimes, you know, the way we talk affects our own mentality and our psyche, and that's something we have to pay attention to for our own well-being. So I think that's going to be it for language for us for now. And me and Paulie here are going to continue our walk. Not talking too much, just listen to the sounds of nature, looking around and appreciating this world that we're in. And until next time, I appreciate you listening and absorbing this language that I'm sharing with you. And I hope to speak with you again next time on a new topic. So for now, we're going to say bye-bye. We haven't said that yet. We haven't developed that language, but he's starting to wave, right? Bye-bye. And we will see you next time. Thank you.